Welcome to the journey of CyberLogic, a guide through Final Fantasy XI, Episode 2, To Trust or Not to Trust. This series will cover the travels of CyberLogic as he progresses through the world of Vana'diel. It will show new players how to get to endgame content using the game's current systems. In our last episode, we were first starting out in the game. We played for roughly 1 hour, where we went over the basics of the game and got to level 7. In this episode, we will get the single most important thing in our path to level 99, trust. Please note that trust are not required to get to level 99, but they will make the process exponentially easier. Now, trust were introduced to the game in 2014 as a way to combat dwindling server populations and as a way for you to enjoy much of the game's content without the need for a full party of other real-life players as would have been previously required. Now, while trust can make things like leveling easier and taking on challenging notorious monsters possible, it can also take away from some of the enjoyment of the game, as they can frankly make difficult things rather trivial, and dramatically bring down the challenge Final Fantasy XI has to offer. I recommend keeping this in mind once you have trust access, and only using them when you absolutely need to. Now, to start your trust quest, you want to undertake the ROE objective, obtain an alter ego, followed by your starting town. You will then want to go to the location that the quest mentions on the map and then speak to the NPC that is also mentioned in the quest. We have just shown that, and now we are going to the NPC that NPC directs us to, which in Sandoria is Exenmil here. Now, if you started in Sandoria, then you will visit Exenmil, as you see here. He is a paladin with flash and cure who wields a polearm. Now, if you started in Bastuk, you're going to get Naji as your first trust, a warrior with provoke who wields a sword. And if you started in Windurst, then you will be getting Kupipi as your first trust, a solid white mage who will stay at distance and cure both you and your party. Now, even though this is the only trust you will get initially, you will have 5 to 6 more in the next few minutes of play, making it so you have a solid group of trusts to use right here at the start of the game. Now, here at this early stage in the game, you're going to be able to summon a total of 3 trusts, which is more than enough here at the start. By the end game, you'll be able to summon a total of 5 trusts, making a full party, and then even add additional levels to those trusts, making them even more powerful. Now, it is very important to note that you have no control over the actions of the trust once you are engaged in battle. Now, in most cases, they will act as you would expect and want them to, but sometimes odd behaviors can occur. This includes weapon skilling when you don't want them to, as well as a bard using refresh songs on you, for example, when you would want them to normally give you March. Despite these deficiencies, the trusts are extremely helpful and most of the time will do exactly what you need them to do. Also note that your trust will disappear when you zone into a new area, so you will only want to summon them when you get to your destination. Now, trust match your level when summoned, and do not level up. So what this means is, especially at this early state of the game, if you summon them at level 5, and then level to level 15 with them all in the same area, they're still level 5, so they're not hitting nearly as hard as you'd want them to. You want to make sure that after you gain a few levels, go ahead and unsummon them and resummon them, so that they are now once again at your higher level. Now, trusts have HP and MP pools just like you. Make sure you watch them in the lower right hand corner to know when your group is getting into trouble. For instance, when your mages are running out of MP. Now, Exenmil has asked us to go outside and summon him, and then go and kill an enemy with him summoned. So go ahead and head outside town, and then do that just as I'm showing here. Of course, if you're either in Windurst or Bastuk, you're going to have to leave your town and find appropriate enemies to defeat in your areas. Now, I want you to pay special attention to how much damage Exenmil does, and I'll give you an idea of just how powerful trusts are in this game. We're going to hit this wild rabbit, as you can see here, for 12 damage, and then Exenmil will come in and hit him for 71. Just devastating this poor bunny. Okay, after you've killed one mob, go ahead and head back to Exenmil, or whatever your starting NPC was, and report back on your progress to finish your quest, and finally be allowed to summon as many as 3 trusts. Now, following this quest, we have a bunch of running back and forth to do here in town, so that we can get the next 5 trust unlocked and ready to go. Now this process will also allow us to finish unlocking the Unity quest line. Now the first thing you will want to do is go under the basic ROE quest and undertake the Alter Ego Valenerol quest, which should immediately complete itself. So next, you need to head back to that starting NPC for the Trust quest and trade them the cipher of Valenerol's Alter Ego. And now you'll be able to summon 2 Trust, both Exenmeal, or whatever your starting Trust would have been, and Valenerol. Now, Valenerol is a paladin with access to Cure, Flash, Provoke, and a sword and shield. He will prove to be a much more solid tank than Exenmeal at this early stage of the game. Now, after you have traded him the Alter Ego, you then want to undertake the next basic ROE quest of Alter Ego Millie Alipu. After doing that, you want to leave town and go outside so that you can summon Valenerol. This will automatically reward you with the Alter Ego of Mihili, and then you will be able to go back into town, trade that Alter Ego to that starting Trust NPC once again. That will of course now allow you to summon Mihili, but now you're going to want to go underneath your ROE basic quest objectives and get the Alter Ego Tenzin quest. Once again, go outside town. Now summon Mihili, which will reward you with the Alter Ego of Tenzin. You will of course go back to the Trust NPC and trade that Tenzin Alter Ego. This will allow you to now summon Tenzin. You will now want to go underneath your basic quest objectives once again. And now you will undertake the quest objective of Alter Ego Adil Ahib. Then, once again, head outside and summon Tenzin. This will now reward you with the Alter Ego of Adil Heed, which you will then bring back inside and once again trade to the Trust NPC. We only need to do this one more time. So now you will undertake the Alter Ego quest of Joachim. Then go outside, summon Adil Heed. Once you do that, you will automatically be rewarded with the Alter Ego of Joachim, and you will now want to head back inside and trade that Alter Ego to the starting Trust NPC one final time, and this will reward you with the ability to summon Joachim, the best bard in the game. Now during this process, you will also more than likely pass the threshold for having done 10 ROE quests. This will reward you with the All for One quest. Before we go into that quest though, let's quickly discuss the trust that we just got access to and what they can do. Millie Alipu is a meleeing white mage with access to cures and is able to remove many enfeebles. She uses a club for her melee. Tenzin is a solid samurai that is your best chance to skill chain at this early stage of the game. Skill chains are when you use 2 similar weapon skills, one after the other, for additional damage. Now, Adelheid is a scholar that can cure, nuke, and stun. He's a solid mage job for your starting play. And last but certainly not least, Joachim is the best bard in the game and is the only one of these original trust that you will be using in the endgame. Now, All for One is the starting quest for the Unity questline. Once you have all 6 trust unlocked, that is where we will need to turn our attention. Undertake the quest and then head to the NPC mentioned in your starting town. Now, Unity is a collaborative Records of Eminence event in which players pledge allegiance to one of 9 Unity factions and tries to earn points for that faction. Now, we don't care so much about these points, but what the system does allow us to do is call our Unity leader as a trust, and they are some of the most powerful trust in the game. Yoran Oran specifically is, in my opinion, the best white mage in the game, and if you don't have a strong reason to go with another one of the Unity members, Yoran is who I would suggest you go with, so that you always have the best healing. Now, after you have selected a Unity to join, you will then need to earn some points for that Unity before you can summon that particular trust to your aid. Now, the way that you earn Unity points is by completing specific ROE quests for your Unity. There are many to choose from, but at this early stage of the game, the 3 that you should be able to accomplish and the ones that I suggest you actually try and accomplish every single day are under Unity and then Unity Shared. Here, you will undertake the objectives of You Communique, vanquish multiple enemies, where you'll need to kill 20 of any enemy in the world, and vanquish multiple enemies with Unity Leader 10, which will be the last one in the list, and you'll have to kill 10 enemies in the world with your particular Unity Leader. Now, since you can't summon your Unity Leader yet, you won't be able to accomplish this third one. However, you can hold on to these objectives and then complete them at a later time. So I suggest getting all 3 of these, and after you complete 5 of them, you should have access to summon your Unity Leader. Then you'll be able to summon the Unity Leader and complete all of those ones that you've undertaken over the last day or 2. Now, these ROE objectives reset every day at either 9 or 10 a.m. Central Time, depending on the time of year. Now that we've got the Unity Trust underway, let's go ahead and start doing some of the game's missions. What you should do is locate one of the gate guards in your starting town and talk to him to start the initial quest like you're seeing right here. They will give you a starting objective to complete. I'll need to go take care of that. For us, we'll need to go get an orcish axe off one of the orcish fodders outside town and then bring it back to the guard here. Now, while we were looking for our orcish fodder, I actually found a notorious monster. Now, these are scattered throughout the world, and when you check them for difficulty, they will always read impossible to gauge. Now, normally if I was going to take on this notorious monster called Rambuk, he would kill me in probably less than 30 seconds, because as you can see, he's doing 25 damage per hit to me. I only have 150 hit points, and can only cure myself, roughly 8 or 9 times before I'm going to be out of magic points. Combine that with the fact that I'm practically doing no damage to him, it looks like about 3 a hit, there's no way I would normally be able to take this mob on. However, with Joachim as our bard, Valena all tanking, and Millie curing us all, this is actually a rather trivial fight, and though it does take me a few minutes to take this monster down, normally it wouldn't even be an option. So this is just a prime example of what it is you should be using your trust for to get through at this early stage in the game. I also want to point out that this is a very low DPS setup right here, which is why it's taking so long. We also could have gone with a trust setup of, for instance, Exenmil as our tank, Adelheid as our mage and also to help cure us, and Tenzin as our DPS. And we would probably cut through this ram in a third the time, if not faster. So make sure that you're putting proper thought into your trust selection, as it can make all the difference. So we've actually been out here for about 15 to 20 minutes now killing orcish fodder, and sadly haven't gotten one to drop the axe yet, even though we did have that fun battle with the notorious monster. On the plus side, this orcish fodder right here finally drops it for us. Now it's time to head back into town and trade in our axe to complete our mission. You'll notice that I was also doing an FOV training regime to maximize my experience as I did this particular mission. We just completed it, so let's go ahead and head back to town and trade that axe in. Completing this first mission will result in a cutscene and your ability to start the next mission 1.2. Make sure you talk to the guard after you've finished that first cutscene to start the cutscene for your next mission. You also want to make sure that you go underneath your ROE quest objectives, underneath missions, and then undertake the mission 1-1 in whatever town you started in so that you get credit for completing it. You will want to do this every time you complete a mission to get credit for it all the way through rank 10. That will be the end of our second hour of play. I'll now go ahead and clear out my inventory and go to the local NPC store I can find and sell all of the random items that I do not need. And then go ahead and head over to that spell shop, because I'm now up to level 13, and get any spells that I can now use at this increased level. At this point, we are roughly 2 hours into our playthrough. We are a red mage, level 13. We have finished the first mission for the starting town. We have unlocked Unity, and we have unlocked 6 or 7 trust, depending on if you've unlocked your Unity trust yet. That's going to be it for this episode. I hope you found that helpful. In our next video in this series, we will finish up our Rank 1 Sandoria missions. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Stay safe and stay healthy out there.